Hello everyone, hello to you all, hello to you my subscribers and returning subscribers. So there are so many things, or few things rather, that I want to update us with in today's news. First of all is concerning the death of Prophet TB Joshua. The wife of Prophet TB Joshua, Evelyn, have given us an insight, or has explained how her husband died. Evelyn, who is the wife of the founder of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, Prophet Temitope Balogun Joshua, popularly known as TB Joshua, she has given details of how her husband died. She spoke with some selected journalists on Sunday yesterday. She said her husband spent about 3 hours in prayers before the last service on the mountain and was looking very healthy. She added that he never showed any sign of illness or worry, and that is his main concern. His main concern was about the prayer line they offered to Indians against the COVID-19 pandemic. This is against what many people, some bloggers, so many people are claiming, that he has been sick, he had stroke. TB Joshua, the wife has just cleared the air that her husband TB Joshua wasn't sick. He did not have any stroke. He was not showing any sign of illness or ailment. So according to the revelation that she gave, Evelyn, the wife of TB Joshua, she said few minutes later, after the prayer he made for COVID-19 patients in India, few minutes later, Prophet TB Joshua stepped out for ministration. While ministering, he spoke about a time to come and a time to leave. His statements were spiritual, and suddenly he left the stage and went to his inner chambers. According to her, she said she waited a few minutes for her husband, and thereafter decided to go in and check on him. And when she got there, she said that I met him sitting on the chair like someone reflecting, but he was quite unconscious. So according to her, she quickly beckoned on his disciples who came and tried to revive him, to no avail. Of a truth, he went home to be with the Lord and left us with a message: watch and pray. Is a huge loss, a monumental loss in that regard. So many of synagogue worshippers, they have been going to the church since Sunday, going to write their registered tribute note. So many people have been leaving their tribute note, and though according to the revelation that the wife of TB Joshua gave, she said that her husband was not sick. She was not. He did not get any stroke like so many people claim. He wasn't sick. Though some people who probably have some kind of hatred towards the prophet, are claiming that he was sick, he had stroke. He did not have any stroke. He just died, just as the wife has explained. So, what your prayer or our prayer is that God will give Prophet TB Joshua family the fortitude to bear this great loss. So, and that's not just all we have today. There, before the death of Prophet TB Joshua, last week was quite full. Nigeria cyberspace was quite full of news. The one that made much headline was the Twitter ban. Nigeria banned Twitter. The URL of Twitter was deleted. So for you to access Twitter, you need to use VPN. And not just that, the federal government also announced that there will be a prosecution to anyone who is found violating the federal government's ban on Twitter. So everyone is ordered to deactivate their Twitter account. But even while the ban is still active, the governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, tweeted. The governor of Ondo State also tweeted. So if the federal government really meant what they said, to prosecute all those who are violating the ban, they should start with El-Rufai and then the governor of Ondo State, who also have tweeted despite the ban and the prosecution threat that was given to Nigerians. So also going to the religious side, the leader of Redeemed Christian Church of God, Adeboye, Pastor Adeboye, said that tweeting is a human right. So that's why he will still continue to tweet. The general overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, says tweeting is in accordance with Article 19 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So Pastor Adeboye, which we all in Nigeria know, he holds a large number of followers on Twitter, and in Nigeria has so many people. His church members are almost in many countries of the world, who of course Twitter, while he tweets, many of his followers who are not even in Nigeria will be able to see the message, or be able to see whatsoever information, spiritually and also physical, that he's passing across to them. So he this is what he tweeted. He tweeted that he said the Redeemed Christian Church of God is domiciled in more than 170 nations and territories. The tweets here are in accordance with Article 19 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And what does that Article 19 reads? The Article 19 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights reads that everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, impart information and ideas through any media. So why should the federal government, be bent on threatening the public, threatening Nigerians on the use of Twitter? So when has the use of Twitter become a crime in Nigeria? So the renowned pastor in Nigeria and all over the world, made it known that even Article 19 of the United Nations reads that we have the right to we have the freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media. So why should the government violate our right through their malicious ban, outright hatred, or outright retaliation towards President Muhammadu Buhari's Civil War tweet? So why should they force Nigerians to deactivate their account because probably the president is angry because his tweet was deleted? So why should such thing be done? And also the leader of Deeper Life Bible Church, Kumuyi, also said that he has churches not just in Nigeria, he has also churches outside the country, which some of his contents that are uploaded on Twitter is not always from Nigeria. Some of the content that are uploaded in his Twitter account are from some of these countries. The founder and general superintendent of Deeper Life Ministry Worldwide, Pastor William Kumuyi, said his church has branches across 100 countries and 5 continents. Hence, it can tweet from anywhere in the world. So he said, Pastor Kumuyi, WF Kumuyi, said this while reacting to the suspension of the social media platform by the federal government, and also a threat by the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, that Nigerians still using Twitter will be prosecuted. So this is his tweet. In view of the Twitter ban in Nigeria, please note that the content shared on this handle is targeted at the global audience in more than 5 continents and over 100 nations, and we share the content from any of these locations. So now we have 2 sets of people ruling this country. We have the president and we have the president. So the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, who many Nigerians now call the Minister of Injustice, who compared the herdsmen open grazing ban that was placed by the southern governors to the sale of trading of spare parts in the north. So he's also come with another controversial rule that anybody who is found with Twitter will be prosecuted. So where are we actually heading in this country, that you decide to download an app, a social media app that we have been using, so suddenly a ban was placed on it? So Nigerians, maybe the law enforcement agents will have to be checking everyone's phone to see if you have Twitter app, and when you have Twitter app, they will arrest you or prosecute you. So I wonder how many people they are going to arrest in a day, or how many people they are going to prosecute in a day. Maybe the cells will be filled up. So this is what we don't understand. There are many things that is challenging this country. One, there is no job. One, there is insecurity. One, there is hunger in the land. Nigeria is borrowing a lot of money. So of all the things that are confronting this country, the one that needs urgent attention is the ban of Twitter and the prosecution of those who are still using the app. So this is crazy. I don't understand. Now Reno Mokri also tweeted that since El-Rufai has tweeted despite the federal government's ban, why wouldn't the government now start with the VIPs? Start with El-Rufai, arrest El-Rufai and prosecute El-Rufai, and start with also those VIPs who are still tweeting. You start with them. If you are serious with your prosecution threat, why not start with them so that others could learn? Now Pastor Kumuyi has tweeted and he has given wonderful reason. His church is located in many countries of the world. So because of Nigeria place, and he's the leader of the church, leading those in other countries. So because Nigeria banned Twitter, he will not be able to tweet so that his church members or in other countries will see it. And what about Adeboye too? So the federal government does not even get close. They don't have any reason. Their reasons are not weighty for banning Twitter. And not just that, even so I think a day ago or 2 days ago, President Muhammadu Buhari posted on Facebook that the Twitter ban was temporal. So how is it temporal? Twitter ban became temporal. I don't understand. How did Twitter ban become temporal? His official Facebook post. The temporary suspension of Twitter is not just a response to the removal of the president's post. There has been a litany of problems with the social media platform in Nigeria, where misinformation and fake news spread through it have had real-world violent consequences. All the while, the company has escaped accountability. Nevertheless, the removal of President Muhammadu Buhari's tweets was disappointing. The censoring seemed based on a misunderstanding of the challenges Nigeria faces. So if actually the ban is because of the misinformation and fake news that is spreading through the media outlet, is it only Twitter that fake news is spread? What about WhatsApp? What about Facebook? What about YouTube? There are many other platforms where you can get the real fake. In fact, I believe that WhatsApp is even the worst. So why not ban WhatsApp, ban Facebook, ban all the media channels? Because you want to get the correct news. Is it not crazy? Is it not a crazy decision? So I don't really understand. So I want to ask a question to all my subscribers and returning subscribers. Do you think that you are going to deactivate your Twitter account just because the federal government has threatened to prosecute those who are still using the app, who are still using Twitter? But for me, till next tomorrow, I am not going to deactivate my Twitter account. Thank you.